Hello, instructors. Welcome to Getting Started with SAM by Cengage Learning. SAM is an online interactive learning environment that's going to help your students master Microsoft Office and computer concepts. You'll easily be able to identify any SAM activities within your Blackboard course by the following blue logo. Let's talk about the system requirements for using SAM within Blackboard. First of all, it's extremely important for you to enable and allow pop-ups, because when you launch a SAM activity from Blackboard, it's going to open up in a new window. Be sure to share this information with your students, even though we're providing them with training tutorials as well, because this is the most common question or support question that we get from students. So this is a very important one. Also, your students are going to have Microsoft Office in order to complete the projects within SAM. There is a SAM system check located within Blackboard. Let's go out to Blackboard and take a look at where that's located. When you're logged into Blackboard and you go to the Start Here area, there's typically a folder within the Start Here area labeled Get Your Computer Ready for Class. So when you go into the Get Your Computer Ready for Class folder, you'll notice there's a SAM system check. When you click on the SAM system check, this link is also available for your students. It's going to let you know if you have the proper plugins or settings in order to successfully use SAM. So you can see that I need to adjust my screen resolution. So that's something that I would want to go in and adjust. And also at the bottom, you can see that we addressed the whole pop-up issue. Next, let's talk about the types of activities available within SAM. So earlier today, I mentioned that you need Microsoft Office for projects, but there are also exams and trainings available for SAM that have been assigned within your course. Let's talk about the projects. The projects require for the students to have Microsoft Office because they're going to be completing these projects in different applications such as Word or Excel, PowerPoint, etc. The students, they basically download the project and they complete it offline. And once they complete the project, they return back to the link within Blackboard for SAM to submit that project. The projects are automatically graded. And I would suggest that you check your syllabus for the settings that the course developer set when they assign these projects for your students, just so that you can be aware of the settings for your particular course. Let's go into Blackboard and take a look at what a project looks like. So when a student clicks on a SAM project link, it's going to take them out to the following screen. So they'll be able to see the instructions for this project. They'll be able to start off with some start files. And this is where I said once they work on this project offline, when they return to the assignment, this is where they can go to come in and submit the file. So let's take a look at what those start files look like. So here's an example of a start file that I have for a Word project. And I'm also started off with an image file, and we also provide the students with some instructions. So here are the instructions. The students are informed. These are the files that they need to download. These are all of the steps that they will need to complete within that project. And at the very bottom, we show them what their final executed figure should look like once they've walked through all of the steps. When the student works on this project offline, this one would require for me to work on it in Word. Once I'm done, I would return back into Blackboard, click on the link for that particular activity or project, and then I can go ahead and submit my assignment by choosing my files. You'll see that there are very specific naming conventions that the students have to use. So I would name my project this exact same name prior to choosing the files and uploading them in order to submit. So that's what a project looks like. Let's take a look at some other activities. So the next type of activity we'll explore are exams. The exams, they're going to be completed via the internet because they are a simulation. Students don't have to actually be within Microsoft Office to complete one of the exams. The preferred and recommended browsers are Firefox and Chrome. Within an exam, a student cannot save and exit. They have to complete the exam within one sitting. The exams, I don't believe they're timed, but you may want to check your syllabus to see how the course developer set them up for this particular course that you're teaching. The exams do allow the students to use specific shortcuts or hotkeys unless it specifically indicates do not use Control-Alt, but they can use the shortcuts unless it indicates that they cannot. Again, check your syllabus for the settings to see how many attempts the students have been allowed. Let's take a look at an exam just to give you an idea of what it looks like. So when students click on an exam from within Blackboard, it's going to launch them out to this page here where they'll see some basic settings about their exam before they go in to start it. Again, it specifically mentions that they cannot stop and restart an exam. So the student, they would simply start the exam. You can see that this exam is within an internet browser. So it is a simulation. And the students, they basically, if they click on this task list, they can see how many tasks or questions are in this particular exam. They don't have to work on it within any specific order. They can just kind of skip around. And they're basically following the instructions on the screen. So this particular task tells me to start Word. If I get it wrong, it tells me to retry. I have up to 3 attempts within my particular exam. Check your settings to see how your exams are set up. And then I can retry this item. If I get it correct, you can see it tells me I'm correct and it advances me to the next item. Once I'm finished with this exam, I can just simply go ahead and click exit and it's going to submit my exam for a score. The final activity would be trainings that are available to students. And the trainings, they are also internet-based simulations. Firefox and Chrome, that's the preferred browser. And within the training, there are 3 different modes. There's the observe, practice, and apply mode. And the trainings, they're there for learning purposes to help the students learn how to master specific tasks within Office. So let's take a look at what a training looks like. So here's what a training looks like for your students when they click and launch a training link from within Blackboard. So with the trainings, again, they're meant for learning purposes. We have these different modes at the bottom. There's the intro mode that shows the students different methods for performing that particular task. There's an observation mode where they can listen to a tutorial on how to perform that task. The practice, it's still a tutorial, but it guides them with step-by-step clicks on where to click. And then finally, in the apply mode, they can just go straight to performing that task. For each task that they complete, they would simply click on the task complete. And once they've completed all of the tasks within the training, they would just simply click exit training. And again, they don't have to complete a training within one sitting. They can start it, exit, come back to it later. Now, if you're teaching one of the OFAC competency-based courses, be sure to check the settings within this particular course because the students, they do have to work on the modules within a specific order, and they are going to be required to achieve a certain percentage on some activities before they can advance to the next module. So be sure to check those competency-based settings for your course. Next, I'd like to talk about how to contact Cengage support for help. So SAM is a Cengage learning product. If you're having issues or questions within SAM, definitely reach out to Cengage support and also encourage your students to do the same thing. So let's go to Blackboard to see how your students and yourself can reach out to Cengage support. So when you're in Blackboard and you're in the resources area, you'll see that there's a Cengage technical support link. By clicking on this link, you'll be able to file a support ticket with Cengage support. And after you file a ticket, by entering in some basic information about yourself, you're going to be presented with a telephone number that you can call into if you prefer to speak with the person. But again, you initiate this by going to that Cengage technical support link located within the resources area. That same link is also available to your students, so do encourage them to use that as well if they have questions about Cengage support. And finally, this video was just meant to give you a general overview. There are a smaller set of training videos and tutorials that you can access for some of the common things that you'll need to do as an instructor, such as the importance of enabling pop-ups. We'll talk about how you can set due dates if that's something that you need to do in your particular course, viewing student detailed reports, resetting scores, or allowing students another attempt, manually syncing grades, because the grades from SAM are going to automatically sync into the Blackboard gradebook. So if you find that that's not happening, you do have the option to manually sync scores. And we've already talked about how you can contact Cengage support. So this concludes our instructor overview for SAM by Cengage Learning. Be sure to take a look at those smaller subset of training videos for some of the common tasks that you'll need to perform throughout the semester.